Great Scott, Marty! No, it's the Bergkamp Wonderland. That's what I want to call the show afterwards, Danny, by the way.
Yeah, although we don't name these.
No, we can be the podcast. But anyway, we're Bergkamp Wonderland. This is the live show for our Desmond with Chelsea. Wow, there's a lot to go through with this game. But first, I've got to introduce the two people that will be talking about it with me. One of them, I've already mentioned. It's Danny, the GFP. How's it going, Danny?
Hello, Josh. Wonderful game. So excited. I nearly had a turn. Back to you, sir.
Thank you. And it's also joining me. I think it's the first time we've podcasted together. It's Femi. Femi, how's it going?
How you doing? Absolutely buzzing, excited, loving the comments already. Come on, Arsenal.
Yeah, got to say hello to the chat box as well. Archie's in there. So Richard Garrett. Stefan's in there. Who else? Let's see. Who was first? Renry, I think. Matt Sanassi. He was the guy that did our theme tune, didn't he, Danny?
He wrote the theme tune and he sang the theme tune.
It was pretty good. Who else we got in there? Formerly Noza, Joshua Page, Bergkamp Wonderland. Not sure who they are. But yeah, where do we start? I suppose with the lineups. And Femi, we saw Hector come back into the lineup. I think the only change from our last game. What did you think of this lineup? I know it changed pretty drastically after about 20 minutes, but...
Yeah, I know a lot of people were not expecting Hector to come in ahead of Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I've been hearing a lot of comments about that recently, but if you've listened to what Arteta's been saying, he's been saying he's got a midfielder and a winger playing fullback. So as far as I'm concerned, he knew that he needed a proper fullback, at least one on one of the sides. And like I said on the last live show, I think they took a decision to just take Hector Bellerin totally out of the firing line, redo all his fitness and get him back up to speed, because tonight he was much more, fitter. He was much more back up to speed. So yeah, I think it was a right change, to be honest. Maitland-Niles, he's done really well, but there was something that was missing on that right-hand side the other night with Pepe and Maitland-Niles. I think they kept giving the ball away against Sheffield United, so that didn't surprise me, to be honest. But yeah, apart from that, we don't really have any other choice at the moment. Yeah, I'm sure we get into other players as we go on, but yeah, we don't have a lot of choice in terms of flexibility in team choice at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And Danny, we saw Bellerin with the captain's armband. Is that something you want to kind of see going forward? One of our own with it?
Yeah, because he is one of our own. He's one of the longest serving players at the club at the moment. Not just in number of games, but the length of time that he's been there, which is two different things because he had so much time injured. But then you see that I think Ozil should have been the one who got the captaincy, and it's a bit maybe telling a little bit that I'm sure I looked on Wikipedia during the last podcast, and I had a look through who was the vice captains. I think it was Bellerin, Ozil, and Lacazette possibly. I think it would have been nice for Xhaka to get it, because Xhaka is he's turned his life around. He's now a reformed character. But Bellerin getting it, that man, he loves Arsenal. He's so Arsenal. He doesn't even have a Spanish accent anymore. He's more of a Cockney geezer than Gav, isn't he? It's brilliant to see.
It is true.
And I think everything Femi said about Bellerin playing the right back is true. We love Ashley, but Ashley is only going to be our backup right back. Don't say it.
I'm not. I'm just going to leave it there because everybody knows that that's not his name. So let's get into the game. There was a positive for us early on. I'm not going to talk about what happened to Mustafi straight away, but Lacazette closing down Kepa early doors. Femi, did you think that was the way that you kind of saw from us that, with Pepe with that early chance, just couldn't capitalise?
Yeah, I think the closing down is sort of the last couple of games is sort of the intensity's gone down a bit. It's quite funny, isn't it, that when we were playing games every 2 to 3 days over Christmas, we were closing down sort of relentlessly, and then the last few weeks that we've had one game at a time, the closing down is slowed down a bit. But if you've listened, I listened to a few Chelsea fans, and their weak link has been this goalkeeper. They have complained about this goalkeeper consistently. So maybe it's something that we did target, because there was about 2 or 3 times that we closed him down and he sort of pinged the ball or gave the ball away as well. I see someone from my block, block 32, Simon, is on the chat as well. So yeah, block 32. I do sit in block 32. I'm representing for them tonight. But yeah, it was really, really good. Pepe, yeah, like you said, didn't control the ball, but it was a good, decent little start there.
Yeah, definitely. And Danny, we're going to get to it. The first of Mustafi's major talking points in the game, blocking the football with his bollocks.
See, it's there's swings and roundabouts for that bloke. It's not like he's oh Jesus. We've got a couple of donations if you want to do them before I start.
You can do them.
J Rob from the Emerald Isles has sent us 2 lovely euros that we're gonna spend and get Femi a wig. It says, "Hello chaps, looking forward to this." And Jim, who was on a while ago and will be back on again, sent us 2 quid, so that means we can afford a ginger wig. And that would be lovely. Maybe we can get Josh to donate some pubes and make one. I don't know where I'm going with that. Stop me. It says, best game in years. Messi wears Martinelli's PJs. Very true indeed. Mustafi. This is why he's not the first choice. And we all know he's not the first choice. And he's going to make mistakes. But he put his testicles on the line there. We have moaned for years that players move out of the way. He jumped up. He let the old chaps. He let Stephen and the twins take a kick. Right, that's only if you watch EastEnders do you get that. Take one right to the testicle. And boy, that hurt. And that just shows the commitment he's got. And sometimes he makes mistakes. But doing that and setting up that goal, getting the assist for that goal was made up for the fact that that terrible back pass that you're probably going to come to soon. It swings and roundabouts for this bloke. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad. He's not first choice, is he, Josh?
No, I don't think so, really.
You do kind of feel sorry for him, though, don't you?
Do you?
I mean...
yeah, well, he's singing soprano for a while. That's probably why he didn't. He fucked up the back pass. He went Luiz, back pass. Luiz thought it was a 12-year-old girl in the crowd, and that's where it all went wrong.
I thought it was that, or it was he was suffering from concussion because his bollocks must have smashed into his brain because he took it in so hard.
That is a pain. It's hard to describe.
It was absolutely incredible, and I was like, "Oh, there we go." But yeah, 14 minutes in. Femi crosses are causing us a bit of an issue. Abraham getting into Leno. Is this again coming back to our fullbacks kind of issue there, or was it just like Chelsea looked like they had a plan there?
Yeah, they did seem to target Bukayo Saka at the start, didn't they? They really went for him, and he was just like Mustafi. Saka was a little bit rattled for the first sort of half an hour, I'd say, until he got composed, and he had a brilliant game after that. But yeah, it was. We sort of didn't. We've got this habit, don't we, of not closing down crosses, which is really a weird thing that we do. But I think their wingers obviously are really quality, and what they did was they switched them around, didn't they, with Hudson-Odoi going right up against Saka and William going to the other side. So they obviously targeted Saka today, and we gave away a lot of corners in that first sort of, first 20, 25 minutes. I think the commentators kept counting the corners. I think they had like 8 corners in the first 30 minutes, which is just ridiculous. And then they were alternating between how can I put it, between short corners and crossing it in. So that was causing us problems as well.
Yeah, I really didn't understand why we kind of didn't get anyone down there as well, because I suppose because it was Martinelli's side as well. Do you think that's because Emerson was having problems with Pepe in that first half, that they were getting a bit more joy down that side?
Down what? The left side?
Yeah, down our left. Do you think it's because we had Pepe on the other?
I think we got a bit of an issue, haven't we, in terms of going forward, which is because we've got Lacazette dropping kind of a bit deeper. And then I don't know if you noticed that during this game, we did something really weird, which was we stuck Ozil to the right at one point, and then it was sort of Pepe and Ozil sort of doubling up on Emerson, as you said. And then what that meant was, as soon as Chelsea got the ball anywhere near the central, they were just running right at us. and then they would play it to the left, and then that meant Martinelli was having to, run up and down trying to cover Saka as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. What else we got? Well, next thing I've got, Danny, 25 minutes in, it's that back pass. So you want to talk about it? I suppose because it finished a draw.
All I did was put 25. Mustafi again. He fucks up the back pass. Abraham's comes steaming in, and Luiz brings him down. Xhaka goes in to replace Luiz at centre back. We're now playing so deep after he scored the penalty. But I was hoping they were going to replay it and show who gave the ball to Mustafi that made him panic and go, "Oh, what am I going to do?" But then the only replay I did saw, when Mustafi tried to kick it back, he went off the tip of his boot. And so he didn't get good contact with it, and so he couldn't direct it properly. So I don't think he was ready for it. So these things happen, and you would have hoped that maybe there'd have been somebody else there to go after him. But when you've got someone the size and the speed of Abraham, you're knackered, really, aren't you? Because that bloke is like a whippet. He's very good.
Yeah. Femi, I think here's your first ABW style question. Do you think that Mustafi's balls were still swollen and that didn't help him get his leg round, get enough contact on the path back?
Yeah, his squadrons were still yeah, but he just looked so nervous throughout the first half an hour, didn't he? It's so amazing how a player can be sort of, even in a single game, like so good and so bad. He gave the ball away that same way about 3 times, even before that one as well. But we were a bit naive, I think, in that situation, because if you looked at what the build up was, well, that was when Emerson got booked, and I think Pepe gave the ball away in the first instance. So we just let ourselves down there, and then it was just a disaster, to be honest with you. I just, like, how do you even explain that? But then again, like, what do you do? Because if we don't trust Holding to play, which seems to be the case now, and any of our 2 centre-backs get injured, we pretty much have to play Mustafi. But he just always has a mistake in him every single game. And it's, unfortunately for him, his mistakes just seem to always lead to a goal. That's another thing. Maybe he's just unlucky. I don't know what it is, but it's every mistake that he does always leads to a goal, which is amazing. Yeah,
definitely. Before we get on to the other part of what happened with this pass back, Petito 100 has thrown in a donation and says the heat is aimed at the wrong German today. Petito, don't worry. When that other German actually does something in the game, we'll mention it.
Also, Jonas, just messaging on DM. Jonas Sigdenberg has sent us 10 quid via PayPal. Thank you very much, Squire. I asked him a while ago if he wanted to come on, because we're trying to get new people on if you've got the right setup. And he said, yes, he'd love to come on one day, but he's got noisy twins. I was thinking, just like Mustafi.
Dear.
Thanks for that, Petito and Jonas.
Thank you very much, Jonas and Petito. Stanley just said. So let's talk through that red card, which is the other part of the back pass. Femi, do you want to talk us through Luiz and what he's doing there?
Oh, mate. What do you even say? I think it's just a natural instinct, isn't it, for a footballer? Like, me watching at home is thinking, don't do it. Don't do it. He's going to do it, isn't he? He's going to do it. Everything just seems to go in slow motion. But as a footballer, I guess it's just natural. I think, well, I mean, it wasn't as stupid as the Bournemouth captain the other day, was it? Who saved the goal in like the 20-something minute.
He was falling down, didn't he? And he went full saving Private Ryan with it and put his arm up in the last seconds.
But to be fair, it's pretty much just as bad, because you give away the penalty and you're very much running the risk of a red card. And I know a lot of people in a lot of the groups that I had were talking about the double jeopardy rule, which is the new rule that came in last season, which was it's only a yellow card if you give away a penalty and you're the last man. But to be fair, I think it's if you're genuinely trying to play the ball, which me as a biased Arsenal fan, I would say, he was trying to play the ball. But, you know, I was hoping that we could get a turnaround there. But, yeah, it was just inevitable, wasn't it? To be honest.
Zoidberg makes a point here, Josh. He says he should have let him score. Do you think in
Yeah,
hindsight?
that's exactly what I was thinking. Naturally, though, as a footballer, I think when you're on the pitch, you just think, I'm going to stop him by any means necessary. But we were better off just letting him score, to be honest, and just carrying on.
He let him score. He didn't even try and stop.
There you go. That's another thing, isn't it?
He can't win. He should have just put his hands up in the air and gone,
well, yeah, I mean...
I don't know what I'm meant to do.
Well, wasn't it Mo Salah the other day when he ran straight through on goal? All I saw from the United fans was Dan James was chasing him all the way back to the goal. And they were like, take him out. And he just let him score. So as a footballer, you can't win pretty much, can you? It's like, but yeah, it was what it was.
Yeah, my 2 cents, I would have gone in 2-footed. Probably. I would have definitely gone to ground, but then I'm left-footed, so it would have been on the right side for me to slide him. But you had Mustafi kind of covering, so that's where I wondered about that kind of double jeopardy rule, that because there was cover, and we saw what Steve Cook had done previously, having a defender on the line doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go in. But yeah, I think just annoying to kind of see that come out.
But it's so amazing how one mistake just took out the whole team, isn't it? Because Leno was he just couldn't react to it. He did not expect that either. Obviously, David Luiz wasn't expecting that. So it's just like one mistake just undid the whole of the defense. Yeah,
it was mad. Danny, what did you reckon to the red card? And do you want to say thank you to Michael as well?
Thank you very much, Michael Hardiman, as usual. Good point. At a tough place to go. Very true. Even better under the circumstances. I think looking at it, when you take him into consideration, brilliant, magnificent game. I can't remember. I was actually thumping the table right near the end when we were doing all that fancy stuff, when their player was down, and we went, fuck it, we're going to play anyway. It's only fair, 10v10. Oh, God. I had to take a breath. Right, so I should just get rid of that. So what was the question? Because I was busy.
The red card.
Yeah, you got to think, well, like Corey says here, when we were kids, we were always told you got to tackle for the ball, and if he wouldn't have done it, he'd have been crucified. And I didn't know about that double jeopardy thing, Femi, where so you can get a red and it can be a penalty at the same time. Is it down to the referee's discretion?
No, it's a yellow now. You remember, it's always a red because you have to be making an attempt to get the ball.
That's the debatable point. So he was trying to get the ball, didn't he?
Exactly. That's the debatable point.
I think he got both, didn't he? Or possibly maybe 52% player, 48% ball, Josh.
Yeah. I think it was because he was behind him more than anything. So if he was like facing him or something, then he probably could have made the case that he was trying to get the ball. But if you're sort of challenging from behind, it's pretty much it's a mare. You're not going to get that, are you?
Well, that point made it a really exciting game. From that point onwards, I thought we were either going to crumble or we were going to play Arteta ball, and we went on. And for some points after that game, we were doing some really, really good defending and really good attacking and keeping the ball, which is Arteta ball, which is nice to see, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if I wasn't doing this, I would probably have turned it off after they scored the penalty, because I did not.
They've turned it off.
Yeah, I didn't expect anything to come out of this game, especially a minute later when Chelsea fans start singing "He's one of our own" about David Luiz.
That was a bit harsh. He signed for them twice, costing them millions of pounds, and they were booing him.
They were until he did that for them. Ungrateful cunts. But then we saw what we could kind of describe as Rob Holding's first, second, and third warming up of the first half, because he nearly came on, didn't he, a couple of times in that first half.
He was up and down more often than John's pants at an orgy, wasn't it?
Or Mesut Ozil playing football.
That's always just down. There's nothing more than that than just down.
I think they had the one of the commentary teams. Obviously, they have someone behind the fourth official checking who's coming off. And they changed it about 3 times. So first it was Martinelli coming off. Then they had Pepe. And this was when Holding was fully changed to come on, by the way. So first they were going to take Martinelli off, then they were going to take Pepe off, and then Martinelli again. And then in the end, I think we were having a nice little spell, so he decided to leave Xhaka at centre back and just carry on. And imagine if we were taking Martinelli off, that would have been amazing, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah, imagine if Emery had done that. That's all I'm going to say. It's not made a change. People would have been going spare that he didn't. I think that's the change of a manager that we kind of have a bit more faith in. Don't you think, Danny?
Jonas has just sent us another £5 via PayPal, so YouTube don't get 40% of the money because they're scumbags. But he's asked us a question, and I've put it in our private chat as one of the questions. So thanks again, Jonas. But you don't have to send us money to ask us a question. No one else does. Don't want to start a trend. Because I was doing that, Josh, I was being very naughty and not listening to the question.
Oh, I forgot what the question was as well.
Good. Let's move on then. We've got to do this in 45 minutes.
Oh, blimey. Yeah, I've got, 22 minutes to go. Nah, yeah. It's fine. So, yeah, I haven't got really much for the rest of that first half because I was too engrossed in actually watching the game. So much. It was all us, wasn't it? All us with Xhaka and Mustafi as a centre-back partnership.
I put 41 minutes. That's a really good 5-minute spell of possession. Slowed the game down, frustrating Chelsea. We were brilliant with that. And another great save by Leno. I might as well just have cut and pasted the words, another great save for Leno, because 75, 72, 75, 79, that's all I put. And I put it again in the 41st minute, and again in the 31st minute, and I put it at other points during the game. So, like Chelsea corner, Christensen heads wide of an open goal. That was in the 10th minute, and that's the only other notes I was making because I was panicking. I wasn't happy.
Yeah, Femi, what did you reckon to that end of that first half? Because it was all us, as you say, it's like 75% possession.
Yeah, much better. I think that's something that's changed under the new manager, isn't it? We control the game a lot more. We're not scared to have control possession of the ball now, which is, I think it just, even if you're down to 10 men, being able to play like that, it really does help. It's gone on mute.
Sorry, I needed to choke.
That's all right.
That was my problem. Right. Ander needs to get ready because it's half time.
Errol makes a good point before you go to half time. He says Arteta showed some stones to hold off on a half time substitution. I think that was it's almost like he knows what he's doing. We're not used to that, are we?
No. I mean, I thought what we might have done was just shaved Guendouzi and then switched him out, gave him the number 20 shirt and stuck him out there and then sub on David Luiz later in the game. But that took us to half time, 1-0 down. And it's back to the chat box because I've been seeing lots of people asking, where's Jason? And
been deported, and he's Brexit. He's got back to Wales.
Brexit means Brexit. So he's in Wales. They're quickly digging a moat around the east side of Wales whilst we get rid of them. But while he's doing that, he'd like some taps in his box. If you like to give him a little tappy. There's 244 of you watching at the moment. 45 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down. I know, Danny, right?
That's disgusting, Josh. What are we going to do about it?
The best way I could describe it is that is like a Mustafi back pass. It's just nothing.
We don't want a Mustafi back pass, do we? If you don't want to be Mustafi back pass, we want a Mustafi assist, don't we, Josh?
Show us your Mustafi-sized balls after he got a football into them and tap that like...
Thinking, what's the female equivalent to do ladies have balls? It's been a while, I can't remember. I don't think they do.
I mean, it was struck that hard.
Nowadays, some do.
I mean, I was going to say it was struck that hard. She looked like she was pregnant afterwards, and everyone had asked where the ball is.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, if we can give us a little like, YouTube might like us. And if you want to hear more of us, you can always click subscribe and then click the little bell icon. And then when Jason comes on, you'll know about it. Not only because you'll hear him singing from the valleys, but YouTube will ping you a little notification. And then you can come into the chat box and speak to us. Or you don't have to even speak to us. You can just speak to the good people in the chat box and ignore us. We don't care.
That's probably the best part, actually.
It probably is the best bit.
The chat. Yeah, we don't know what we're talking about.
Bring the chat into full screen. We're just a bit on the side.
Thomas has helped us out. Ladies don't have balls; they have eggs. Similar kind of. We've had another donate. Oh, Jonas is in the chat box. And we've had a donation. JSS AFC.
Who is JSS AFC? I like they've got a bruised banana shirt on.
And he's got 3 kids that all stop balls. That's all I remember because I think he's been listening for a while and donated last time. Jonas, what's Jonas said? I want to highlight it, trusting it's going to be good. This shows the Jason effect. I'm still holding back on my likes, even when Jason isn't here, awaiting the Welsh justice.
This is disgusting. I just feel like I'm just inept now.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. That's it.
Feel like a discarded sock.
Not even. I wasn't even. It was like the other sock that you use to wank in. You know, you've wanked in that sock. I'm still the sock left in the drawer, so I'm never going to be put on. That's it. That's what I feel like. Not even the indignity of being jizzed in. Thanks, guys. Right, let's go on to the second half before Femi decides that he's had enough of ABW and he leaves. So second half starts. Still no sub at half time. Femi, do you want to talk about Martinelli? Because I kind of missed this. I just saw him humbled in a heap.
Well, 2 things with that. We got a few yellow cards today for cynical tackle. Oh no, we got one for I think it was Guendouzi. Brought down one of their players, and all their players were surrounding the referee, asking for a red card. Aspilicueta took out Martinelli when he was running straight up the pitch. The referee gave him absolutely nothing. The referee didn't even call him back to talk to him. Then he pushed Martinelli off the pitch. That's why Martinelli was left in a heap. He landed on and it was just a subtle little push, and he got nothing once again. So I really didn't understand what was going on with the referee today, or why we were getting these sort of weird decisions once again. It seemed like our players literally had to be taken out to be a yellow card, like Lacazette was taken out. But yeah, the kid did well, didn't he? He got up and stayed strong.
Yeah, and he kind of showed them later in the half as well.
He did, yeah.
On that kind of thing of the kind of fouls and the lack of yellow cards we got, did you see the Pepe on, was it Jorginho? I certainly heard him scream when he stamped on him off field. I was surprised we got away with that one.
I didn't see that one.
It was later in the second half. I only remember it because I was like, who's crying? What was that like Weasel doing? But yes, Pepe's basically just killed him off field. Danny, we then saw the ultimatum that presumably happened at half time where Ozil was asked by Arteta to do something with his fucking life on the field. And he chose to not even get a pre-assist like Mustafi had at least done in the first half, and joins equal with now Arsene on 14 games played and 1 assist in the Premier League. I mean, it's still better than Jesse Lingard, I think, but you know, it was scraping the bottom of the barrel. He comes off for Guendouzi. Did you think that was the change you kind of expected? Because it certainly wasn't what I expected to happen.
Well, the commentators were saying that it was going to be Martinelli looked like he was going to come off. And I had that tweet ready. That, what the fuck do you think you're doing, Arteta? Arteta out. I had that ready to go. Didn't happen. But you're looking at Ozil, and I thought, that's not happened. Now, I'm going to, whenever the camera was, I was watching it on DAZN, and I was watching, whenever I could, an Ozil, the amount of times he was doing sideways or more often backwards passes, it's like he doesn't want to make any forward passes in case they don't go to the right or do anything with them. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, you've now got 1 assist in your last 12 and a half games for Arsenal. We've got many players on the pitch that we've got fullbacks and defenders that are doing more than you are. So then I was thinking, well, how do you fix this problem? Arteta's already put his arm around him because they were there playing together at Arsenal. And that made a little bit of a difference. There has definitely been some games this season under Arteta, when we're playing Arteta ball, that Ozil has looked to be, oh, hello, looks like he's up for this one. Oh, he's doing a bit of running. He's tracking back to get the ball. He's going wide to get the ball. He's putting balls through. But today, he just looked like he couldn't be bothered. And again, if you look back, if you get a list of all the games against the Big Four, the Big Five are going to be both Manchester, Liverpool and Chelsea. That's all the Big Four are, because we're the 5th one. The Spurs haven't never won anything. In fact, I'm putting Leicester as in part of the Big Five. He's done bugger all against all of those teams. In cup finals, he's done bugger all. When we played against Chelsea at the end of last season, the cup final, he walked around for the entire time. And it's just like, either he doesn't get it or he doesn't want to get it. And now the links are going to start. They want him out of the club. And someone tweeted me and said, I don't think we're ever going to sell him. I said, I think the club gave up on the idea of selling Ozil years ago. We've been sold a duff there. He's had 1.5 good seasons at Arsenal, and the rest of the time, was it him that the article was written about where it says nicking a living? Was it him or was it someone else?
No, it was him.
Never has that been truer than it is now. And I want him to sort his life out. And I want him to be getting assists, getting the goals. Even when he takes the corners now. When Pepe took that corner, he took it with his wrong foot. That corner he took it with his left foot. So on that side of the pitch, you would normally take it with your right foot. That corner was low and down and mixed it into the box. When Ozil was taking them, he's just thinking, why are you even bothering to take the free kicks, Ozil? I mean, the corners, you're not even doing that properly. There is something so wrong with everything about him. And when Arteta, his mate, is bringing him off, you're thinking, this isn't a good sign, is it? I wouldn't play him again. At least Lacazette is running his arse off and trying and managed to score a goal that was offside. So it shows that Lacazette can score. But I don't know, Josh. It's just so frustrating because he should be there pulling all the strings, shouldn't he?
He should be. I would say that Lacazette offside was it's onside in Merseyside. That's what I'll say.
Data said that. There you go. Data. Ozil makes the team more money than he costs. Get over it. There you go. That's probably why he's still at the club.
He makes the team more money than he costs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we can talk. So what have I got next? 58 minutes. I got Laka getting absolutely upended by Christensen. I thought that should have been a red card, but I might be biased. You agree there, Femi? It was the one where he's got no attempt for going the ball, right?
Took him out, didn't he? I mean, that's the one thing is we were, like you said, we were getting possession, kind of building up. But as soon as we got anywhere near a break, Chelsea just took us out straight away. I think that was the last one that they did because the referee had to do something. You know, as soon as we pulled any sort of 2 passes to get forward, Xhaka was taken out, Martinelli was taken out, Lacazette, Pepe. So you know, it's the way of football now, isn't it? That's just a standard football thing. I think Man City brought it into the Premier League, and now everyone's copying it. Just cynical fouling, taking players out,
occasional fouling as well, making sure the same too often.
Dan, did you feel it had the kind of vibe of like an old school derby? The kind of ferocity of some of those tackles going in.
Yeah, they weren't fucking around, were they?
No, I feel we were a 2-footer away from doing it, but you know we were down to 10 men, and I think that's why we put Xhaka in defence, so he couldn't go around 2-footing people.
If it wasn't for VAR, there may well have been a few 2-footers going in tonight. It was that kind of game. I think VAR and the ability for the referee to look back at that and go, right, you're all off, game abandoned, because everyone was getting really angry.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when we had the ball for 5 minutes and we were passing it around and they couldn't get the ball off us. They're thinking, they've only got 10 men. How are they doing this? We just kept doing it all around the pitch, back and forth, all over the place. Really, really good to see. Bit of composure at last.
Yeah, and talking about composure, it's the bit that the chat box has been waiting for, isn't it? 62 minutes, Mustafi assists. Femi, talk us through the goal.
Oh man, I was jumping up and down in my my American commentary on in the background. I was like, oh, what a goal! When his first touch was awful, wasn't it? But he somehow maybe if his first touch was better, he actually wouldn't have scored that goal because Kante probably would have taken the ball off of him. But his first touch was so bad that Kante totally lost all his composure. He did a Steven Gerrard and just crumpled on the floor. It was actually exactly like Steven Gerrard, wasn't it? It looked like Steven Gerrard ran straight through on goal. You're thinking he's not going to pass to Pepe, is he? He's not going to pass. He's not going to pass. Of course he didn't pass. Composure, just beyond his age. 18 years old. I mean, what a player this is. I've got Man United fans texting me saying, "Oh, you guys have got a little diamond there, haven't you?" Jurgen Klopp said when we played him, he said, this is a generational talent that we've got here. And I'm sure Jurgen Klopp can spot a player. This guy, we've got to do everything to hold on to him. New contract in the summer, give him a 6-year deal like we did to Bellerin, and tie him down to the stadium and the training ground. This kid is absolutely special, and we've just got to do everything to hold on to him, to be honest with you.
I'd give him Ozil. I'd say Ozil belongs to you now. He is now your G's.
Well, we should give him Ozil's wages for the week, shouldn't we?
We'll sort of see from now on Ozil piggybacking him around London, doing all of that stuff. Yeah. That's what we need, because Ozil doesn't deserve anything. We are spoilt with this kid. I mean, to come in at that age and get back-to-back, is it back-to-back Premier League goals? I'm sure it is, isn't it? Yeah. Magnificent.
Yeah, and he's into double figures now as well for the season, which puts him second top goal scorer for us, if memory serves.
Easily second top scorer.
Yeah, that's true. I probably could have said that if he had 5 goals, and exactly. fairly certain that would have been right.
I was surprised Leno hasn't tried to go for it. He needs a couple.
Yeah. But yeah, oh man, what a goal! Because he takes it from basically our own box.
Yeah,
it's 65 yards. I mean, it's Kante falling over makes it a worse goal, because we all know Martinelli's going to rainbow flick it over him and just leave him like stuck in the mud. But it was good enough to win a game, I think.
Yeah, 18 years old. I mean, we've got 2 18-year-olds that are excelling. Like someone said in the chat box, Neil Vegahala. Sorry, I pronounced your name badly. He said even Saka had a great game. We've got to remember, these guys are 18 years old. I mean, seriously, all I ever hear in the media is, Chelsea's youngsters, this Chelsea young team, Chelsea, we had more young players on the pitch than they did. And no one ever gives us any credit for that. I mean, 2 18 years old, we've got some gems in our team. If we can just add some little structure around them, we've got something, that we can build on, to be honest with you.
Neil makes a point. I was just thinking that he says they had a good combination between him and Martinelli. They were doing it for the entire game. Down the right-hand side, it would have been Pepe and Bellerin. Bellerin making his comeback. It's his first game in 8 league games, I think it is. And Pepe was doing his magic. Pepe has to get some bit of a nod, but those two down the left-hand side, and as soon as those two went off on one, you'd have Xhaka dropping back into the defence, covering that position. Xhaka did so much hard work today, whether it's stopping the ball, playing centre-back, dropping in as cover for when them two went off on a run. And you could see down the right-hand side, Chelsea was shitting their pants every time we had it. I mean, you look, even with in the dying minutes of the game, they were both still doing it down the left. Well, they weren't, because Martinelli had come off. But the last parts of the game, Saka was still doing it down the left-hand side with Guendouzi and all that other stuff. There's so many good points from today's game to look at and to take notice from. And the title of tomorrow's podcast is going to be We Only Need 10 Men.
Okay. Not going to go with my suggestion. Fine, Danny.
What was your suggestion, Josh?
Great Scott, Marty.
That's a Back to the Future reference.
It is indeed.
Who's Scott? Oh, Marty as in Martinelli.
Great. Marty is Martinelli. Great Scott is the thing. Anyway, if you have to explain it, it's not as good. Anyway, I think Joe Madeira 1993 wants us to say something like GM7. Problem is, it's really confusing me with Glenn Murray.
It would be through a secret Brighton.
I was like, why is he shouting about Glenn Murray? And I was like, because I've already called him M35, which
who's got our 7 shirt at the moment?
It's Mkhitaryan has 7, who's at Roma. So
that's debatable. He's actually there. He's just doing nothing.
I mean, we wished him happy birthday and he replied to it, so we know he's about. I don't know what he's doing.
John's made a good point there. John Bernstein, Saka and Martinelli are saving us 100 million in the transfer market.
Definitely. Yes, all that money we keep wasting on shit centre backs is fine.
That David Keith, we only need 10 Martinellis. Have you got any brothers and sisters?
Oh dear. We'll just start scouting the Brazilian 4th division, because if there was a guy that, if there were a couple of people that kept Martinelli out for clean sheets, just buy that entire team. It'd be great. Right, we'll probably have to move on from Martinelli a little bit, because we've got to finish off the rest of the game, and some other stuff happened. What else we got? Guendouzi's yellow cards. That was a an interesting one. I think Mason Mount was an angry little man, isn't he?
They were all angry, weren't they, chasing after the referee? It was just a similar thing that they were doing for the whole. I really don't understand what Chelsea were expecting. Another red card. I don't get it. He pulled at him, couldn't bring him down. Fair enough, and then he hacked him down. That's what they were doing for the whole game. So it's fair turnaround's fair play, isn't it? You can't complain if you can dish it out, then you can take it, can't you?
And that came between Leno 72 blocks from William, Leno 75 saves us again, Leno 79 saves us from Barkley.
That was a superb save. I've got that one written down.
How many saves he made tonight? It must be close to double figures.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many blocks as well? Like those little blocks that look. How many times did they appeal for handball as well? Handball.
And every time it was off Mustafi's bollocks because they'd swollen to the size of the away ends.
He could have put a couple of Arsenal shirts on. We could have had 6 people playing at centre back.
That's why we decided to leave him on, right? Because he actually still had a centre back partnership. Stick a wig on it. You think it was David Luiz.
Poor bloke. And he got so well done for him for carrying on as well. He didn't even go and have a lay. If that had been MMA, he'd have had a good 5 minutes laying on the side, wouldn't he? If that had been UFC.
Yeah, definitely. With a little blood capsule in his mouth that he'd break at some point as well.
That's rugby, wasn't it?
Oh, they're all a little bit rigged, aren't they? Which one's the fake one? MMA, WWE, they're all the same.
How dare you? If Mike from the Gooners pod hears that, he'll come down and give you some chin music.
I don't
Sweet
understand that.
music.
That's it. Heartbreak Kid, give you some sweet chin music. Get on with it.
Sorry. Right, so then we saw Pepe come off and Rob Holding finally came on 60 minutes after he was probably going to come on. What did you reckon to Pepe's performance today, Femi? There was a particular Welshman that wasn't very happy with his performance in one of the WhatsApp groups I was in. But what did you think, how he played?
I thought first, before the red card, I didn't think he was pulling up trees. Him and Ozil. I think it was a bit complicated because he gave us an outlet, to be honest with you, because he does control the ball really well. I thought he wasn't that bad once we went down to 10 men, to be honest with you. I thought he gave us an outlet. He held the ball. His little twists and turns, like Danny said, was causing Chelsea problems. They didn't know whether to stick or to go with him. His end product wasn't the best today, to be honest. But I don't think you could see that he was fading. He wasn't really covering. I thought, to be honest, I saw Maitland-Niles getting ready at one point. Did you see that? He took his shirt off and he was coming on. And I definitely thought they were going to take Pepe off for Maitland-Niles actually at that point and double up on the right side. But I think what changed that was Chelsea brought on, who's that guy?
Michy Batshuayi came on.
Batshuayi, and you saw Arteta standing right next to the substitution. I think he was just calculating in his head, okay, what do I do? And as soon as that happened, he thought, okay, let me put Rob Holding on, go 3 at the back, go wing backs. And it paid dividends in the end, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Not necessarily straight away, because 4 minutes later, Lacazette, yeah, that bit. I know he's not a defender, but he went full Mustafi, didn't he? And just got out of the way of the ball.
For Ozil. Oh, my God. Danny, you might want to take that one because I couldn't believe it.
I don't remember Lacazette moving out of the way for anything. There was quite a lot of time.
The Azpilicueta goal.
Yeah, when they crossed the ball, Lacazette pulled his leg back.
Note of this. Yeah. You ready?
Yes. Hang on. Sit down, everybody. Danny made a note.
Fingers on lips. 83rd minute. Goal! Holding is busy shouting to watch out for Batshuayi. And then while he is shouting out, watch out for Batshuayi, and walking towards Batshuayi, the ball comes to, I'll put AZ because I can't pronounce his name, as per unpronounceable, slips in behind Holding and scores. And you think, well, hold on a sec, as he's going, no, absolute no. I thought, here we go, dying minutes of the game, Arsenal concede a goal, same old. But you're just watching it back, you're thinking, well, there's not much more that Holding could do, because if Batshuayi would have come in and tapped the ball in, who was offside? Was it Mason Mount just stood there and then took the last second?
Take your pick. Take your pick, because an injured Tammy Abraham is offside in that goal.
Yeah.
At the front post. You've then got Azpilicueta, who's between him. Batshuayi behind him is offside, and possibly Mason Mount further back. But yeah, there's about 3 of them offside in it.
I think it was Tammy that was standing there as well. And I think a holding was going, well, you've got Batshuayi over there. You've got Tammy there. I've only just come on. We're trying to rearrange the defence and trying to keep this to 1-1. And then you think, well, he can't be in 7 direct. So I think all the blame has to come for the people that would have, would have been Xhaka, Mustafi, and whoever else was behind him. Those for watching they only showed the replay once, and that's when I was noticed what Holding was shouting, look out for him.
I think a lot of people think it was offside, but it wasn't, because Xhaka actually dropped in and kept a few players onside, and he did that about 3 times in the second half, where you could see he wasn't a centre back, because where everyone else pushed up, Xhaka dropped just a little bit, and it kept people onside, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think Azpilicueta is certainly onside.
Oh yeah.
He's the one that's onside from that thing. But as people are saying, why is VAR not coming in?
No,
I think
Xhaka dropped back and kept them onside. If you look at the replay again, and I think the first mistake, let's be honest, is, and I think you can see it in Lacazette's face, he knew that he made a mistake. He totally held his head as soon as the ball went past him, and Holding let him know that he made a mistake as well. Yeah,
I think I completely agree with you, Femi. As much as, we're annoyed that VAR didn't have our back necessarily, that issue's solved by Lacazette just putting his leg out and stopping that ball coming across, or coming across with his body. Yeah. Just anything he puts on that, so long as it's not his hand, is fair game as a decent block there.
A few people are making the point that, like John Bernstein and Joe Madeira have made it, that wasn't Abraham directly in front of Leno.
Yeah, I think he was.
Not just a foot or so. He was a few feet away from him. But then because it's not just blocking his view, it's taking up what he's been going to be marking or watching out for. So it's a little bit like him going up to him going, hello, and then stepping back at someone else scoring, and Leno go, well, I was looking at him, giving me jazz hands. You can't do that. And then VAR. Well, like someone said, VAR only helps the teams that the FA want to help win stuff.
Yeah, remember, we are Farsenal, not Varsenal.
Yeah, we do get, I mean, let's be honest, we're getting decisions like a mid-table, lower half of the table team nowadays, aren't we?
We got absolutely done a dirty there. But 86 minutes back, anything your captain can do, our captain does better, Danny? And on his weak foot.
Magnificent. I wrote most of this in capital letters because I just put fuck you Chelsea on Twitter in capital letters. 87th minute, Matteo, Bellerin, Matteo, Saka, Matteo, Torreira, then Bellerin. Just brilliant. That's Arteta ball. So I think the gist of that is the ball goes all over the place. Saka's running right on the left-hand side. The ball goes out. It comes back in again. And Guendouzi does really well. I think Guendouzi really showed that he's grown up during this game, that he wasn't running around like a headless chicken doing nothing good. He was helping everybody, getting stuck in, getting forward. And I thought, wow, this kid is something special. And then the ball goes out somehow. I think Torreira gets it just outside the penalty area. Then Torreira passes it right to Bellerin. Bellerin's got 2 men on him. They think, hold on, Bellerin, he's a right back. We all know right backs have only got one thing. Bellerin went, all right, geezer, Cockney now, cuts in on his left, tells him a dummy, cuts in on his left hand foot and on his left hand side. Left foot shot, bottom left hand corner. Good night. Thank you very much. That's been a game. Magnificent. And someone said that the last time we drew 2-2 at the Bridge, Bellerin scored then as well. But what a way to announce your comeback, and as captain, and as showing that under Emery, it's not over till the fat lady sings, is it?
No, absolutely. Femi, do you have anything else to add to that goal? Because,
man, honestly, I just thought, you know what? These boys, if you give fight, the fans will give something back to you. I think they've got that into their head now, which is, I don't think 3 months ago, if we had gone down to 10 men, we would have seen anything like that kind of performance. I thought we were brilliant.
Saying another 6-0, weren't they?
Yeah, I thought we were brilliant second half. Personally, I thought when I looked at all the results as they were coming in, they were showing them on the ticker on the side. I was like, this is miserable. We're in a relegation fight here. This is so bad. We're gonna get hammered. And you're just thinking, just show something. Like, the board are not helping the team out. They're not giving them any funds, or there's no funds to spend to re-inject into the team. But the team just thought, you know what, we're not going to have this. Just like against Leeds, that second half, they went in at halftime and said, we are not going to lose this game. And I just think that if you behave like that, I don't care who you are, what level you are that play for Arsenal, as long as you behave like that, the fans will give you something back as far as I'm concerned. I'll always support a team that does their best, to be honest with you.
Good. Great.
Yeah, great. Just going through my final bits and pieces I've got on the rest of the game. Pretty nervy end to the game. I don't know, were either of you watching BT Sport?
No.
For yours?
No.
So we got...
Chelsea player was crying.
No, we got a David Luiz cam for the last 5 minutes.
I've seen a picture of this. What happened there?
So what they did for the last 5 minutes, they found David Luiz was sitting in the corridor watching on a dodgy portable telly, tapping the side a couple of things, a little ball boy holding the aerial up for him so he could get signal. And they just filmed, and they were just filming him watching the last 5 minutes of the game in the bottom left corner of the screen. It was great. We should have had that for the whole game. I want to see that more.
Agent check.
Oh, maybe
double agents together.
No, it was just him on their own, and you could tell he wanted us to. Well, either they were syncing the screen up slightly different to his reactions, but he definitely did a little fist pump when Torreira cleared it at one point in those last 5 minutes. But the last thing I've got is Xhaka getting that kind of touch on Michy Batshuayi, not touch on Batshuayi, the ball coming in, just puts it wide. And I think that saves us the point, doesn't it?
I think Xhaka thought the ball was in the back of the net. He didn't know what happened behind him, but he did. He was brilliant. You know what? Fair play. I was one of the people that gave Xhaka stick, but fair play. He has been immense, to be honest with you. I'm glad he stayed. He's given a lot to the team. I can actually now see why he was made captain, to be honest with you. And I would have never said that about Xhaka even 4 weeks ago. He's been magnificent, and I gave him stick, and if I saw him, I would say fair play, Xhaka. I gave you stick, and a lot of people gave you stick. You've stuck your head down, and you've got on with it, to be honest with you. Played that centre back today, just magnificent, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Danny, do you think that Xhaka looked so good at centre-back because we now have like a functional midfield? So we had a question from it as well that Emery has did it with Xhaka and played him at centre-back, and it didn't necessarily go as well. Now Arteta's doing it, and it's kind of been seen as a masterstroke. What did you reckon to that?
Well, I think it helps the fact that during the game, he is dropping back into the defence during the game when those two are making a run down the left-hand side. So it's not like you're going in cold. He's been doing in and out during the game. And then to go back and do that just shows his adaptability, that he's a central midfielder, ball winning and all that lot. And then he's been playing as a defensive midfielder, which isn't his position, for so long and doing okay. And then the ability to just go back and do that. It's like everyone is saying here, Rudy Purdy was man of the match. David Keefe said he was brilliant. Thomas from Norway says Xhaka turned it round. Charboy says Xhaka and Martinelli were stand out today, and Daryl, Xhaka took Emery's hate. So there's someone else, but I can't remember who it was. But this wouldn't have happened under Pass Back FC or Cut Back FC or whatever it was. So that's just so true. It just shows that we got. And if we had players, I don't want to be too mean about Mustafi, but if he'd have been maybe Pepe and Luiz playing there, these sort of things wouldn't happen. And then hopefully long-term, Luiz and Holding, or maybe even longer-term, Holding and, I don't know, someone else who's really good. I do quite like Luiz, but I don't think he's a long-term solution for that. I do still think we need to get rid of a few of those players. But Holding, it's nice to see Holding come back on. First thing he did when Holding came back on was get the people around and go, right, we're doing it. And while they were just about to take a corner, he's going, right, you do this, you do this, giving all the managers directions. So great to see Holding come back on. He's not going to be the Holding of old for 4, 5, 6 games it might take him, but at least he's back when we need him.
Yeah, and the last thing I've got is Martinelli coming off for Joe Willock to come on. We can probably continue talking about Martinelli for the next, until midnight. That's like 45 minutes. But yeah,
Can I talk about the ref in that instant? Why was the referee stalking our players off the pitch? I've never seen anything like that. He literally
really wound him up, didn't he?
He really was walking with Pepe. Pepe even turned around and said, like, mate, are you Joel from You? What is going on here? Like,
your ref stinks. That usually works.
What's going on, ref? Like, he's holding his back, like literally walking him off the pitch.
To be fair, that really annoyed me because he's clearly saying to him, well, I just had this time on. Same for Martinelli when he's walking off slowly. But what happens? He blows the whistle at 94 minutes when we're just about to do a counter-attack. I mean, it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Didn't you think we could go on and win that? I thought we could go on and win that.
I think the way that we were breaking on 94 minutes, I think Lacazette's going through. That's probably how he scores as well. Breaks his duck. But
unlucky. But he was a mile offside, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he was offside in that instance as well. Right.
At least he's trying.
It's true. It could be worse. He could be... I don't know. Name it all. Yes, I was going to say, we need to do a few questions. And that was the game. There are 300 of you watching now. That's more than there was previously. We've only got 83 likes, though.
Disgusting.
Come on, guys. This is disgusting, as Danny has said. If we
didn't die for this.
No, I feel like you need a target, which makes it easier because then everyone could go to it. 1 million seems like over the top if there's only 300 people in there.
PewDiePie gets 1 million. Shut your face. Get on it, people. You fucking freeloading scumbags.
I was going to say if you get up to 100, but we're at 94 already, and that seems like a nothing target. Let's get up to 150 million, I reckon, by the end of this. And Danny, would you like to do the questions?
I certainly will. Right. Thank you very much, people, for all your wonderful questions. We don't want to spend all night on this. We were going to do 45 minutes, but it's such a good game. I mean, all I'm going to go and do after this is play War Thunder. You two have got to go to bed to get up for work. Right. First question from Jonas Segnanberg. If you combine Torreira and Ozil, do you get 1, a creative midfielder with a knack for interceptions, or 2, a bored midfielder with the body language of a sloth and the defensive capabilities of Iceland? Josh. Iceland half decent run in the Championship. Or maybe it means the freezer shop. I don't know.
I was going to say, does it mean the supermarket?
It's B-Jam.
I think if you do a cross, I think you get 2 of them, but you wouldn't play them next to each other. You get basically a useless player, and then you'd get someone like the second coming of, oh God. I was going to make some kind of hipster reference, but then I couldn't make an amazing, like Paddy Vieira, maybe someone like that.
How dare you?
Yeah, you get someone amazing if you did that cross.
Next question for you, Femi, from Data. She says, "Does anyone remember the supporters having?"
We did that one, Danny.
Okay, fair enough. Right, from her, same person. Does Guendouzi not start? How does Guendouzi not start every game, Femi? Again, from Data.
I think I saw in the chat someone said about Guendouzi being knackered. I think to build a whole midfield around Guendouzi, which was what Emery was doing, is very, very silly, to be honest with you. He's a good player, but I think he needed to be eased in and taken out in some games. And what had happened was this season, we had built everything around Guendouzi, and he just couldn't live up to the hype, to be honest with you. I think the way that Arteta's easing him back in is a much better way of doing it. Good player, good young player. I think he's got a lot to learn positionally, discipline-wise as well. Like you said, Danny, today he kind of held his discipline, didn't he? He did well. He carried the ball for us. But then there's some games, especially, earlier in the season, where he was just like a headless chicken, wasn't he? He was just all over the place. And I think he needed to be taken out of the team. And I think I can't see him personally, if we're playing 2, and I can't see him starting ahead of Torreira and Xhaka, to be honest with you. So I think it's working the way it is. All the players seem really happy. So yeah,
that's good.
No need to change it, to be honest.
I agree with you there. Bloody hell, the page has moved. Right, question here from the box for you, Josh. I want to make a comment on this first. From Jimmy H29. Is Leno showing his player of the season, saves us game after game with saves? I've got a controversial opinion here. Unpopular opinion, as Chris would say. I'd drop Leno for the rest of the season, only because if he carries on like this, he won't be here next season. So I'd tell one of our players to go and elbow him in the face, leave him in goal so he lets in 5 or 6, and drop him for the rest of the season. Because have you seen that Manuel Neuer of Bayern isn't having his greatest season, is he? He's coming up to 34, which means he's 33, possibly 35. Yeah, so answer the sensible question, not my stupid comment.
That's okay, because I can answer your stupid comment and then answer the question. Yeah. Bayern have already signed their Neuer replacement. They've gotten him on a free from Schalke. I can't remember his name though, but yeah, they're getting him at the end of the season. He was their captain.
Yeah,
Schalke captain. And they've stripped him of the captaincy because he said he was going to stay there. Anyway,
he didn't tell Schalke that he was negotiating with Bayern either.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Oh, what has happened?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, sorry."
Yeah. Let me guess. It is Alexander Nubel.
Yep, that's the one.
That's my hipster knowledge. I didn't Wikipedia it. Go.
No, I conceded that. I think Leno will be our player of the season. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't. It's going to be between him and Aubameyang, to be honest, unless someone does something spectacular in this next half of the season, because we'll tend to always think kind of what happened in the last 3 months. People kind of forget what happens in September come the end of the season. So yeah, I think Leno will be player of the season for us.
David Michael makes a comment here. Hello, David. Sounds like a new person. Why has no one talked about Ozil ghosting around the pitch even before the red card? We did a little bit, but we're not really here to moan too much about Ozil. We all know that he's a waste of space at the moment, which is a shame. Right, next question from... I keep reading these from Great Scott Marty, but it's not. That's you. John Bernstein. Next game is for you, Femi. Next game, Mustafi and Holding or Holding and Xhaka?
Mate, honestly, it's a FA Cup game against Bournemouth.
Who won tonight? First win in 6 years.
Honestly, we should be able to get through that. What it is we don't want a replay in that game, because if we get a replay in that game, it means we can't go away for our training camp, apparently. So we want to be winning that game so that we can get the players off for a bit of a break. But honestly, I don't really care. I want to win the FA Cup, but I kind of not really that bothered, to be honest. Holding, definitely, and Mustafi, or Holding and Sokratis should be back by then. So,
quick one on that, Josh.
It's got
to be hard. You can't take Xhaka out of the midfield, can we?
No, I think it could be an option long term, maybe, and we do like a little bit of a Mascherano at Barcelona to Xhaka, and maybe we see him come into the defence.
That's in the Premier League, though. You can play goals in defence; they make no difference.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, kind of against Bournemouth as well. I think probably go a bit safer. Bring in Bobby. Who else we got?
Actually, Arteta has brought up a couple of the players from the youth this in the last week that have been training with the first team. And one of them is a central defender. I think he's 17 years old. Another one of our one youth kids, so maybe he's coming through. Yeah, I would like to go far in the FA Cup. Hopefully win it, because I had a horrible nightmare last night where I thought that Liverpool are gonna not only do the fucking treble, but they'll do it invincible as well. No, I know, right? Yeah, can't be doing that. But it's on, and someone needs to beat them, please. I don't mind them doing maybe the treble, because that'll piss off United fans. But if they go invincible as well, there'll be no joy left in the world. Making me cry. Right, next question. You two have got to go. From Neil again. This is for you, Femi. Where do you think we will fit in both Martinelli and Saka next season or long term? I think it's exactly the same, isn't it? They have to do tonight.
Oh man, you know what? It's so hard to predict anything for next season, because Champions League. We're going to be in Europe. Is Lacazette going to be there? I doubt Aubameyang's going to be there. So then that changes pretty much everything, doesn't it? If you think about it, if Lacazette and Oba are not there, Martinelli, can he play up front? There's so many different things that we've got to think about. I think we're going to have a massive summer this year. We always say that, but I think we have to this year. Yeah. So the answer to that is, let's hope. Let's hope. It's a good dilemma to have, isn't it? To have good players. It's better to have good players than bad players, isn't it?
How will we cope? Josh, look at that. He's not even here and he's taking over.
I know. I did warn you. Sorry, chat box. He's in there now. Swinging arms, swinging limbs around, throwing punches.
Is it like he's shouting it at us?
Oh.
He's got a new keyboard as well. He should be happy and he's not. Even with a new keyboard and mouse, he's still not happy.
Is it a silent keyboard or can you still hear him mashing it?
He's made one
show.
Lego and stickle bricks. No, it is a silent keyboard. We use podcast funds to pay for it, and it's a silent one. It's one for rubber keys. Personally, I don't like rubber keys, but he needed something wiped clean. Right, we've got a couple more questions from Jimmy H. Or actually, I read that one out. You, Josh, is Liverpool going to equal the Invincibles that you just talked about? Do we honestly think they're going to do it? I don't. When you get to the sticky end of them being Champions League holders,
yeah, it depends on the kind of route. So it depends on the route they get for their various various cups. Well, yeah, have you seen who they've got in the FA Cup?
Newport County.
Yeah, I think they've got Shrewsbury Town.
No.
Shrewsbury Town. Whilst we got Bournemouth.
What about the Champions League?
Yeah, they probably will as well, won't they? But
no, I don't think they'll do it. Femi?
I've got a weird feeling about tomorrow night. They've got a tough one tomorrow night. And with Chelsea drawing, I think Wolves are smelling some top four blood there.
They had a great comeback at the weekend, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were 2-0 down.
Have they got Wolves or West Ham first?
Wolves away tomorrow. I think that's I think we want to keep an eye on that one. I might actually watch that game. But then someone did say that Wolves are looking a bit tired.
They've played 212 games this season already, Femi.
Yeah, so let's hope tomorrow night. Now that they've beat Man United and Tottenham, I can start rooting for all the other teams that play against them.
Yeah, that's true. You can just go and start supporting the rest of them.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Is it all right? Yes, you put in oh shit, Jason said. That's not actually a question, is it? Well, I think that's the majority of the questions, you two, because we've done an hour and 7 minutes. It should have been an hour because we're rationing you lot. And yes, so there you go. Oh, tomorrow night's podcast, before you come to me, is Corey Austin from the chat box making his podcast debut live from Canada. It's going to be the Pirate, Chris Carpenter, and me, and possibly one other person. Carl has said he is free, but we had Carl on the week before last, so it might be Carl as well. But I usually wait to get Carl and Femi on at the same time just so Carl can bully me.
Perfect. Yeah, so that was it. I know, chat box, you're a bunch of fucking failures.
What many have they done?
112.
There's nowhere near a fucking million.
Jason came in and added 4. That's it. And I'm assuming Jason is one of the 4 that added to it. So, you know what, everybody? That's it. Yeah. Jason's drunk.
Is he drunk?
I think so.
Oh,
I think that's it. Anyway, 271 of you. To be honest, one of them is probably me. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, wherever on the tractor, as Danny has said, podcast is out tomorrow. And I think that is it, because I can't remember who's on the show for Bournemouth, or even if it's been organised. I'll say thank you to Femi. It's been great having you on.
Thanks, everyone.
And Danny, I think the listeners will hold out for this. Can you just switch the shit off?
I will indeed. And tappy, you freeloading scumbags. We're never doing another show again. Cheers, Josh.
Cheers, Danny. Until next week.